samples from your growers, we can macerate or crush them and then create a composite sample. If that one tests negative, it means all the others are okay. But if it tests positive, then we can zoom in a little to see which one could be having the issue. So I think the cost should not be the issue. And we need to also take it up upon ourselves to ensure that we do this, to ensure that we don't blacklist ourselves on the market. So having said that, allow me to go to the remarks that I had prepared, which I hope will also cover some other areas. So colleagues, trade is war. And for you to be ready to win a war, you need to plan very carefully. You need to design a winning strategy, and you need to deal with the trade impediments. Because we are here to trade, so we must understand what are those impediments. Now the impediments are known. What is affecting our exports in fresh fruits and vegetables? There are basically three core areas. The harmful organisms, those are the pests. The MRLs, it is maximum residue levels. The word maximum to mean maximum allowable for human consumption without causing ill health. Now, we should know how to manage these. And to manage these, you are not going to manage them at the pack house. You are not going to manage them at the exit point. It means the farmers must be involved, because many of these will happen at the farm. Actually, all of them happen at the farm. Now, if you have no interest in knowing who your producers are, then you are the cause of many of these interceptions. Because, and what we needed to make very clear right now is that it is not going to be business as usual. From this, in fact, we've had an engagement with you on the 7th of February. We have also had an engagement as regulators in-house, and we are planning to invite you for this meeting, but we collaborated with Hot Fresh, and we have had this meeting. Let it go in the minds of everybody that from tonight, it is not business as usual. Because remember, you who is not having interest in your growers, you just aggregate these things from wherever you are not interested to know. When these products leave and we get an interception, it is not your single company there alone. This time, you tag along you the big name of Uganda. And before we know it, if we lose this market, it can be very, very bad for all of us. So please note it, it is not business as usual from tonight. Now, allow me to talk about these fruits and vegetables. Now, fruits and vegetables, as government, we take this as a very important subsector because it has the potential of engaging poor women and the youth to produce even on a 1/10 of an acre, an 1/8 of an acre, and therefore that means it can contribute to wealth creation and distribution of wealth right at a community level. But the trouble with this is that these fruits and vegetables are grown in scattered places all over the country, in open, air-conditioned, not under greenhouses like for the flowers. So, and also coupled with the fact that with the climate change, we have now many pests increasing, others emerging as new pests. And that means we need a lot of care right at farm level using integrated pest management. That we should use all the possible measures and apply chemicals as a last resort. And therefore it means that ultimately, if this sector is going to grow, all exporters mandatorily must know who is producing for them. And if you do not have that for the time being, rest, build your farmer base, come back to us later when you are prepared. Otherwise, we are not willing to continue with you to continue damaging the image of the country. So those who are not ready with the farmer base and you are not able to demonstrate, we want to ask you in a very polite manner, rest a bit, do something else, but we are willing to work with you to work with those farmers so that they are able to meet the requirements. Now, that means that we must be deliberate on understanding the market requirements before we even risk to say we are exporting. These are very clear impediments, and if you are not sure, this business of let me try and see is not good, because when you lose the money, we also lose as Ugandans at large. So you must be prepared to know this. So at this point, can we really together step aside? We do some soul searching and sort our houses and perhaps say, yes, let us put our various houses in order before we continue in this kind of business. I would like to thank the three big associations for finally, almost, I think, coming to an understanding. And please give these gentlemen an applause, and ladies. Because fruits and vegetables would be a very big game changer in the social transformation of this country. But while we sort out ourselves as government to make sure the horticulture department or entity to do that does its work, even you, the growers and exporters, you need to be organized so that dealing with you can be better. It has not been a simple journey to reach where we have reached, but I think where we are now, I can see that we can move on well. That we are in the same room and there is no finger pointing and shouting from the beginning of the meeting to the end. I want to congratulate you, and please let's continue on that. We think that now our inspections are supposed to be science-based, and they are supposed to help us avoid what is not exportable material. But one, as we have already seen right from you yourselves, the exporters, that many of you have the attitude, you are not interested to know what is being produced, you are just gathering things all over Kampala. That poses a big problem. But the other one would be, the other second stop center along the critical control point would be the pack house, to do another inspection, just to be sure. Then another one at the airport. But unfortunately, because we came to an agreement that because of failure to have timely resources for inspectors, that there would be co-financing by the exporters for these inspections. But unfortunately, I think it is not working. That because an exporter has co-financed by facilitating the inspector to go and do the inspection, it looks like it is compromising the independence and integrity of the inspector to do their work. And therefore, we are not seeing enough interceptions at the pack house, and yet on the global market, we pick these interceptions. It would be understandable if the MRL interception skipped the inspector at the pack house. But it's not understandable how the harmful organism keeps on skipping the pack house and also the exit point. Now that means we may need to rethink the co-financing approach. It is a good approach because it helps us to be efficient and to be effective. But I would want this meeting to review this. Like for the Uganda Flowers Exporters Association or FAIR, it is not the individual exporter who co-finances the facilitation. This facilitation goes to the executive director of FAIR. And upon a requirement of inspection, it is that executive director who facilitates the inspector. And therefore, the money comes from a pool so that it is not tied to the individual exporter, so that this inspector can do his or her work with a lot of independence and perhaps with a lot more integrity. I would like you to move towards that so that you get your Apex body. I think all your co-financing goes to that Apex body, and when there is a need, it is the Apex body facilitating the inspector, because we are now seeing that this is not working. So I wanted to raise this and see what you would decide on that. Now, I also wanted to let you know, because I told you it's not going to be business as usual. Our current permanent secretary is a general from the army, and given his military background, he has guided that when you are having such a situation where you have continued interceptions, it means your system is not also able to detect some of these things. So we have pulled some inspectors from seed, from agricultural chemicals, and now the airport has 24 inspectors. Apart from pack houses, we want to increase on the inspections at the exit point. But we now demand from you that for pack house inspection, because it has been noticed that some of you as exporters have become too smart for my inspectors. Too smart in the sense that you bring in from your various collection points, when they want to inspect, you say, our things are arriving after midnight, and my flight is at 4 a.m. Therefore, making it very difficult for adequate time to inspect. So we now demand that you arrange your consignments and give us sufficient time to do inspections at the pack house, and then we also do inspections at the airport before your consignments leave. But we are also now saying, if indeed you must do your inspections at night, you must meet the following condition. You should avail enough light for the inspections, and the inspectors must be not one, they must be two, and they should not be transported by you. That means we shall need a driver and also fuel, so that these people are two with a driver, and then it is at an increased cost to you. So plan well, let these inspections be during the day as much as possible, and let us be given adequate time to inspect. Short of that, we would be happy to also say, with the auditors, if they want to audit you and you run away from office, they don't follow you and chase you. They normally write that limitation of scope, that they were not able to have access to the material, therefore they cannot proceed. So we are now telling you that from now on, if you don't give us enough time, we shall not be there to do that. And it would be fair that you give us adequate time during daytime, and then we are able to do the inspection. Then places of production, true, we have had a technical issue, and that's why indeed you have not been seeing us in the field frequently. It is being addressed because it has a cost, and as soon as this is addressed, we should be able to be present at the places of production. But that is why we have now beefed up the pack house and the exit point while we sort out the technical issues that can enable our inspectors to be in the field. So, yes, on testing of consignments, of course, for these MRILs, what would be best is to test every shipment, but all of us agree that that's too expensive and it can't work. But we now have agreed that let us, you as exporters, work with us to pick samples, or, at least every growing season, to have them tested at UNBS. But for Chemifa, we have now agreed we shall also be picking samples as a ministry at the cost of government for testing every growing season from your growers. And that means that you must lead us to your growers, and we know who they are, pick some samples, and we see how they compare with your results from UNBS and ODGAL. Because I know the test from UNBS, even if it is also not yet accredited, it can help you to check on the levels from your growers. So all the companies that have been intercepted, you are not going to be allowed to send out any shipment until you have led us to your growers. We have done an audit at your cost before you are allowed to ship another consignment. So all those who had been intercepted, please, no more clearance until we have done audit and we are sure that they are meeting the requirements. Even one single interception qualifies you to go in to do an audit now. Otherwise, we are in big trouble. Then, any exit point interception at the Park House or Entebbe will again trigger an audit, again at your cost, to ensure that you are in charge of your growers and that you are in charge of your quality control. Then on quality of packaging, please, I think this is a big problem. Your colleagues in flowers are having very good packaging material. For the fruits and vegetables, this packaging is so poor. 2 weeks ago, I was at the airport and I was looking at the whole chain. Then in the cold room, even before these items are palleted, you see the boxes for fruits and vegetables. Many of them have already collapsed because I think most of them are just one ply. And I was really, really surprised. And I have had to take action against that inspector who cleared that consignment. That a box, tying like you with the sisal, wrapping it, and then each box has been wrapped with the sisal, like you are sending a package to your grandmother in the village. Surely, this is damaging our image. Now, and remember, when you put in that box and then you use sisal, you are triggering another kind of issue because sisal can easily transmit some diseases to other countries. Now, that one, I wouldn't blame it so much on the exporter, but even my inspector who did that was very wrong. But all of us, I think we need to quickly find a way of improving on our packaging material. I saw in one of your action points here, you agreed that you want to lobby government, I think, to either work on taxes. That is something you must do now, very urgently, with the Minister of Finance. You say you have a meeting. I hope that's one of the things you're going to talk about, because we would like very soon to stop clearing products from Uganda, which are poorly packaged in the kind of material you're using today. We would like you to look at your friends in flowers, see what material they are using. We would like you to upgrade to that. So, colleagues, what is new now that I can inform you before I wind up is that there has been a gap in food safety. We have moved ahead now as a ministry. We are developing the food safety law. we are done with developing the principles, and very soon this will be done, and it can help us to move better. We are also moving, we have got clearance from government to move forward and create a regulatory agency in the ministry, and which is going to be in charge of food safety, in charge of plant health and animal health. And I think that this may go a long way in making us be more effective and efficient in serving you. And we are also recommending that we now need a business summit with you as growers and exporters every year, where we should sit and agree how business has gone, what we have not done as government for accountability, what you have not done also private sector for accountability. A real business process to see how we conducted business and how things did well or they did not do well. So, colleagues, as I end, I would like to thank especially the ISSD, which has supported us to be here to sit and dialogue, but also to thank Hot Fresh for taking leadership in organizing this meeting. So with that, I think I take the honor to declare this meeting closed. Thank you.